Welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast for club owners, operators, and fitness professionals. Each week, host Bryan O'Rourke brings you an expert interview with a global influencer at the crossroads of fitness and technology. You gain the insights, tools, and inspiration you need to stay connected to the pulse for what matters most for your business in the age of exponential technologies.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast. Today, we're going to be chatting with Cory Brightwell, who's one of the co-founders of Chuze Fitness. They're a low-price, high-value model that started out in California and is expanding to multiple states. Today, Cory, who's been in this company for over a decade, talks about hospitality, the challenges of technology adoption, what they're experiencing, and really wonderful to hear his final comments on the why. So I look forward to sharing this podcast with you. And without further ado, let's talk to Cory Brightwell of Chuze. Welcome, listeners. As I was mentioning earlier in the intro, we have the good fortune of having Cory Brightwell with us. And if you haven't heard of the Chuze Fitness brand, it's been around over a decade. Cory, thanks for joining us from California today. It's a pleasure having you.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So we were chatting before we started. You have roots in baseball and more in sport, correct? You played for Pepperdine, right?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get to have a spot on the team at Pepperdine and had a great career and developed some great friendships and was lucky enough to find my wife out there as well. So really all good experiences from baseball and Pepperdine.
Yeah, well, as a founder of a brand like Chuze, you've been in the business over a decade. So you've seen a lot of stuff happen over the years since you started the business, right?
Absolutely. A lot of evolution, a lot of innovation is happening.
And what are some of your takeaways that you could share with the audience about your experiences and what you think about the industry in light of what you're doing with growing the Chuze brand?
Sure. When we first looked at coming into the industry, we had zero fitness industry experience. Our background, our team and family's background was in hospitality. We had been fortunate enough, my dad and godfather had started a restaurant concept back in 1978 called Super Salad. It was one of the first restaurant buffet style salad bar restaurants that offered a great value proposition to the consumer. So I got to grow up watching that. They sold that business in 1995, but there was always an extreme focus on the guest experience. So those two, my father and godfather, were the mentors for this family of founders that started Chuze. And like I mentioned, we didn't have any fitness industry experience when we started Chuze, but we felt like we had the experience in hospitality that we could bring to the fitness industry that would allow us to differentiate ourselves from the competition. 10 years ago, when we went around to examine the competition and really see what we were up against, it wasn't pretty as it relates to the guest experience. You would walk into a health club and you may or may not get greeted at the front desk. Then you'd be handed off to a salesperson. They would show you around. The club would be filthy. The air conditioning would be broken. The equipment's down. The roof is leaking. And then they take you to an office and put you through a meat grinder and extract as much money as they can out of you that day. They try to sign you up for personal training before they even sign you up for a membership. So it was just really an experience that wasn't focused on the consumer. It was focused on driving numbers and driving sales. And we really agreed when we decided to go into this industry that we wanted to be different and really focus on the guest experience through enlightened customer service and keeping our facilities spotless, our equipment operating all the time, and just making sure that the overall member experience was comparable to no one else. And that's truly how we've been able to differentiate ourselves over the years, is through this guest experience approach and really focusing in on connecting with the people that are walking through the doors and not just treating them like a number. Now, that being said, my experience in the industry 10 years ago to what it is today, if I were to go to a Chuze Fitness or several competitors, I feel as a whole the industry has made some drastic improvements, primarily because other clubs out there, other companies out there have realized that the focus does need to shift to the guest experience. And it's been great to see really the ships rise with the ocean in other companies in the industry, competitors in the industry getting better. I think it helps the industry as a whole. So that's been a big shift from my opinion, my perspective, the last decade, is a focus truly on the consumer, because at the end of the day, if we're not focused on that experience, if we're not focused on making sure that our facilities are clean and that our equipment's operating well and working well, then there's so many options, so many choices for the consumer to go elsewhere. So that's been really neat to see. And then beyond that, the extreme focus on technology and innovation in technology has been pretty cool to see how that's evolved over the last decade. And it's also, again, very experiential based, whether it's heart rate monitor training so that members can see live action results with calorie burn or a heart rate zone that they're training in, or whether it's the different customer interactions that are made more seamless and efficient, therefore enhancing the member experience because of technology. So it's been a really, really fun industry to be part of, and it's been really great to see the transformation that the industry has made over these last 10 years for the positive.
Absolutely, Cory. And you were wise when you mentioned, as we like to say, rising tides lift all boats. I think, some people look at the competitive surge and the choices that you're talking about as a threat. And we tend to think that it's not a threat. It's actually going to grow the marketplace. It's just the barrier or the kind of litmus test is a little higher. And I think you're right. It's interesting, too, the hospitality focus that you have. And as you know, in lodging and hospitality and restaurants, in that type of business, that guest experience has been, really at the center of the more successful brands in that space. I've worked in that industry for a long time, as well as in hotels. And I agree. I think that's a very wise differentiation. Cory, now, I know you have clubs in the California market. I know you're in several other states. What size is Chuze today as far as the number of units you're operating?
We currently have 25 locations open and 8 under construction. So we're certainly ramping our growth this year and even into next year, where we'll have 10 to 15 openings next year. So it's really been a great run for these the first 10 years, and it's time to step it up a bit and take this brand to some new markets and some new states. And we're very excited. We've got a great team that will allow us to do that. And it's really just all because of the people who have been part of this awesome organization that have allowed us to get to this point in our growth and will allow us to accomplish what we want to in these next 5 years.
In that team, Cory, how are you dealing with, and how have you navigated prioritizing technology and innovation? What has been your experience and some advice you may give people operating in the space right now about what you've learned on that? Because a lot of people are kind of sometimes, I think, dazed and confused about tech and what they really should be doing, or innovation, not chasing every new shiny object, so to speak. Can you shed some light on that from your perspective?
Yeah, we certainly don't have it figured out by any means as it relates to how to best leverage technology for your business and for the consumer experience. We're primarily generally focused on how to leverage it for the consumer experience. But we've got a lot of room for improvement. What I've seen in the industry is there's very many options as it relates to software systems that you use for your member management system, software systems for tracking leads and following up with potential members or prospects. These are called CRM systems. There's social media relationship management systems. there's a lot of options out there, and it's hard to wrap your head around which ones are the best for your company. But I think that if you're able to truly scrub each one down and understand what it's going to be doing for your end goal, whatever that goal might be for your particular company, or that commander's intent or that mission, is the wise thing to do. Just make sure that at the end of the day, it's not the next new shiny thing that you're signing up for, because we've made that mistake many times, where it's a new software technology that seems really neat, but at the end of the day, the development is far behind the marketing in terms of what you feel like, what you end up getting compared to what you thought you were going to get. So that's one piece of advice I would definitely like to share. And then really trying to figure out how to use each piece of technology that you have in your company and help them work collaboratively with one another. That's something that I wish someone in the industry within technology could figure out, how to make it more of a one-stop shop and not have to have all these different systems speaking to one another. I know that's probably wishful thinking on my part, but nonetheless, I think if someone's sharp enough to do it, there's a gold mine sitting on that opportunity right out there. And if they figure it out, we'll be one of the first to jump on board. But really, that's what I see as it relates to technology and the landscape out there, and how to navigate through it. And like I said, we have not mastered that by any means, but we certainly feel like we've found some good partners in certain aspects of our operation that have helped us enhance the member experience by using technology to either speed transactions up or make their experience when they visit the gym more user-friendly and quick and at their fingertips, whether it's through their mobile phone or a touch screen in the club. But, and then also tapping into the heart rate monitoring technology. That's been really cool to allow members to see real-time live results and even summaries, and track those results over time to see the accomplishments that they're making.
Yeah, that is a very, very insightful and true on the tech side. In the Fitness Industry Technology Council, with our members, we try, and that's the purpose of this podcast as well, is to share information from people like you on these subjects so that they can figure out what to do. And you're right, API integration, having the right partners that understand not only the tech, but what to do to actually implement it is key within the confines of a business model too, because as you're pointing out, there's a Penelope of choice out there, maybe a cornucopia of choice out there with different business models. And so certain aspects of tech are going to be more applicable to some brands versus others, depending on what kind of experience they're trying to create. Are you, in your growth, because you're really ramping up your growth, are you seeing the real estate market doing what you're hearing popularly now, with retail spaces starting to shutter and providing you more options regarding site location?
Absolutely. With what they're calling the retail apocalypse, there are certainly more opportunities popping up, whether it be Toys R Us boxes or Sports Authority, Sports Chalet, Kmart, Sears. There's a plethora out there. What I haven't really seen change, however, is the rental rates in real estate have remained fairly strong, and I think that's a result of the continued strong economy. Although there's quite a few more vacancies and empty boxes out there, I don't think the true effect of those vacancies has really changed where rental rates are. So, but nonetheless, yes, more opportunities. I just wish those opportunities came with lower rents.
Yeah, it is a little warmer economy than it was years ago. So yes, that's true. And also build out costs, I know, have increased the last several years due to cost of construction. So that's something I hear across a number of brands, including the brands we are invested in as we've done different projects. The cost of entry, which is even more critical than that you get your business down right, you deliver right, so that you can, make it sustainable. Is your development coming? You said Colorado. What other states are you growing into, if you don't mind sharing that?
Yeah, we've got a small footprint in Tucson, Arizona, and are expanding that small market with newer and bigger boxes. That we're actually taking some of our smaller locations and relocating them to larger footprints with more amenities. And then we're certainly growing our Colorado market, Denver MSA area and beyond. And then we just opened our first location in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So that's a new state that we're in. And I actually grew up there for 10 years of my childhood. So really excited to bring this business back to, my home state. And then we're going to be also moving up into central and northern California, which is almost like another state when you live in Southern California. So those are the primary markets that we're focused on right now. However, we're already beginning to explore options for another state, probably at the end of 2020 or 2021 for a new market entry.
That's great, Cory. Cory, for the audience, I know a little bit about Chuze. Thankfully, I'm familiar with the brand. Could you describe your general square footage of the locations and what kind of offering and price point your experience entails for the member?
Yeah, so our business model falls within the sector they call high value, low price, HVLP, health club membership. So we offer a lot of value, a lot of amenities for a very low price, starting as low as $10 a month. And our footprints are usually around 35 to 45,000 square feet with pretty much full service amenities. So you've got cardio equipment, strength equipment, free weight areas, turf training and functional training areas. We also have a cardio cinema where you can watch a movie on a big screen in a theater, surround sound while you're doing your cardio workout. We also offer full service locker rooms with connecting to our pool area, which has steam rooms, hot tubs, 25-yard lane lap pool, and as well as infrared saunas. And then we do offer group exercise classrooms that have a multitude of classes: Zumba, yoga, kickboxing, Les Mills, body pump. We do indoor cycling. We have those rooms as well. And then some additions we've made recently in the last 5 years has been what we call team training. It's a high intensity interval training room where it's essentially personal training, but in a team environment. You're getting to wear a heart rate monitor and track your results live. It's half cardio, half strength based, really fun workout. And it's in a team environment, so it's a lot of fun, and really enjoy offering that in our package now. We offer hydro massage chairs and hydro massage beds. If you've never tried those, they're my favorite machine in our buildings. And we also have a kids club where the kids can enjoy hanging out at Chuze while mom and dad are getting a great workout in. The kids have a turf area as well. The kids have their own cinema, their own arts and crafts area, as well as some active gaming options. So really it's a full spectrum of amenities that we're offering. And again, we start at $10 a month for our basic membership. We jump up to $22 a month for our premium membership, which does include quite a bit more. And then the final membership is $39.99 a month, which gives you unlimited access to our team training sessions, as well as a few other key amenities. So that's generally the box size and amenity package that we're presenting, along with the price points. And it's, again, the goal is to just generate an extreme value proposition. So when folks walk through the door, not only are they getting a great guest experience with the welcoming greetings that they're receiving from our staff, and the connections that our staff tries to make with them, but the true value proposition and what they're getting for what they're paying is really unmatched in what we are seeing out there. So,
yeah, that market has been as you well know, been a very significant part of growth in the last 10 years for all the reasons that you cited. Since you're a founder and a co-founder of this business, and you've been in it for 10 years. You mentioned a lot of things, a lot of wisdom from your experiences in growing a brand like this. And now that you're reaching a point where you're really starting to scale, what are a couple of pearls of wisdom you could share with our audience about starting a business like this and getting it to the point you have where it's really starting to grow rather significantly. Are there a few pearls of wisdom you're open to sharing for the listeners about that and your journey there?
Absolutely. Because of our extreme focus on the guest experience, from day one, we've always known that whoever's delivering that experience has to be different, has to be part of the culture of the team and fit that culture naturally, not force it. And so we've always had an extreme focus on recruiting and hiring the right people rather than just hiring folks and trying to train them in to be the right person. So, um, and that's really just digging into behavioral styles and making sure that, again, they fit with the type of experience that you're wanting to deliver. They can do it naturally. Now, where we are now versus where we were 10 years ago as it relates to growth and scaling, one thing I've definitely learned is that as you bring new family members of the Chuze staff into the group and onto the team, learning how to empower and in turn delegate is going to be crucial to allowing you to take the next step in growth. And that's tough to do as a founder, right? It's your baby, and it's something you don't want to let go of, and you want to pay attention to every single detail. But unfortunately, if you want to scale and grow your company, you have to be willing to let go of those details and ladder up is what I say. So truly finding the folks that can come in and be part of your team and take over what you're doing and even do it better has been the key to allow us to get to where we are, and it will be the key to allow us to grow at an exponential growth rate these next 5 years. So really that people aspect is my biggest nugget that I can say is truly finding the right folks to be part of the team that can take what you've done and do it better and allow you to be strategic and visionary in your focus so that you can continue to push forward on growth. Again, it won't happen if you're stuck in the weeds and the details. I'm not saying there's plenty of opportunity and there should be time spent in the weeds with the teams in the trenches. However, there's also needs to be plenty of flying at a higher altitude so that you can be forward thinking and forward looking for the growth of your company.
Absolutely. So today during our talk, you touched on a lot of what we believe are the keys, execution engines for successful brands in the future. One of them is what you had referred to as the enterprise platform, where you were talking to and about connecting the dots on systems so that you can get a kind of a one view of truth around the customer and the challenges that exist today. And that's what we're trying to do at Fitzy. And around that is having sensor and data collection points, and then being able to automate low value service aspects to invest more money in people and teams. And that, you did a great job of articulating that and making sure you're differentiating your offering, which is really, really critical. Cory, what a pleasant chat this has been. Very, very honored to have you on the podcast. Is there any final thoughts you'd like to share for the audience? We're fortunate enough to have about 8,000 to 10,000 listeners a week from around the world that are people like you. Many of them own their own fitness companies. They're on the service side or operator side. So I know they'll enjoy this. Any final departing words or thoughts?
Well, for listeners who are part of this industry, I try to remind myself and my team every single day that we're very blessed to be part of an industry that is fully and truly focused on improving people's lives and extending their lives. And never losing sight of that is always going to be a focus for us, because it's truly the why behind what we're doing. We want to affect people's lives in a positive manner so that they can live longer, they can go outside and play with their grandchildren or their children. And never losing sight of that why is truly what has helped us grow to where we are today. And every single person who walks through our doors has a story and has that human element to them. And if we can tap into that as business owners and fitness professionals, we have a huge opportunity and then obligation and responsibility to help them in their journey, whatever that journey is. So, really, really excited to be part of an industry that that does that for people and has the opportunity to change their lives. And we're going to do everything we can to capitalize on it.
Listeners, Cory Brightwell, co-founder of Chuze. Again, remember the why, the benefit mindset, the abundance mentality. Remember the why. Wisdom right there. Cory, thanks so much for making time for our audience, and many congratulations for your success thus far. And I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about you and your brand, Chuze.
Thanks very much, Bryan.
Hello, listeners. This is Bryan O'Rourke, and thanks so much for listening to the Fitness Plus Technology Podcast. The podcast is made possible by the Fitness Industry Technology Council, a consortium of global brands working together to enhance the adoption of technologies in the fitness space. Our company, Videri Ventures, which is invested in Vertimax, Montezuma, Gold's Gym, Houston, Texas, and Fitness 24/7 Thailand, also underwrites the podcast, along with our service companies, Integris Advisors, Moon Mission Media, and others. Please feel free to share this podcast with your colleagues. And if I can be of any assistance to you, don't hesitate to reach out, bryanko'rourke@gmail.com, or find me on any of the major social networks. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.